sanctions. We spoke earlier to the foreign minister of Iran, Javad Zarif. You said that if the U.S. pulls out, the outcome will be unpleasant. What did you mean by that?
It will lead to U.S. isolation in the international community. Everybody has advised the administration that this is not a bilateral agreement between Iran and the United States, and withdrawing from it would be seen by the international community as an indication that the United States is not a reliable partner. Iran has many options, and those options are not pleasant.
If the U.S. pulls out of the nuclear deal, will Iran continue to abide by its terms?
If the benefits of the deal for Iran start to diminish, then there is no reason for Iran to remain in the deal, because it's not acceptable for us to have a one-sided agreement.
If the U.S. and its allies come to their own agreement on the sidelines to address some of the things that President Trump is concerned about, will you accept that?
No, because what is important is for the Europeans to bring the United States into compliance, because Iran has been in compliance with the deal.
As you've said, the president, in your view, is unpredictable and unreliable. Are you saying no power, North Korea or anyone else, will come to an agreement with America if they break this?
Well, countries will make their own decisions, but obviously this would be a very bad precedent that if the United States sends this message to the international community that the length or the duration of any agreement would depend on the duration of the presidency, that would mean people will at least think twice before they start negotiating with the United States.
But it sounds
because negotiations involve give and take, and people will not be prepared to give if the take is only temporary.
It sounds like you're saying it's President Trump's move on this. You're going to see what he does on May 12th if he puts sanctions back on Iran, and then you'll decide what the consequences will be.
No, we have put a number of options for ourselves, and those options are ready, including options that would involve resuming at a much greater speed our nuclear activities, and those are all envisaged within the deal, and those options are ready to be implemented, and we will make the necessary decision when we see fit.
You're ready to restart your nuclear program if President Trump puts sanctions back on Iran, even if the rest of the world says don't do this?
Obviously, the rest of the world cannot ask us to unilaterally and one-sidedly implement a deal that has already been broken.
President Trump offered to meet with your president, President Rouhani, at the United Nations, and Iran said no.
He made a very negative and insulting speech before the General Assembly, and while he was making that speech, they approached us. And we believe that the first requirement for any bilateral meeting is mutual respect. And if the President is not prepared to provide that, exercise that mutual respect, then a meeting would not produce any positive results.
CIA Director Mike Pompeo was a very harsh critic of this deal when he was in Congress. He is very close to the president. Now he's the nominee to become Secretary of State. Do you read his nomination as a sign this deal is done?
Every indication that the United States is sending appointments, statements indicate to us and the international community that the United States is not serious about its international obligations.
Would you be able to work with him?
Well, as I said, the requirement for any international engagement is mutual respect. We will have to wait and see.
Pompeo has spoken in the past about striking Iran. John Bolton, the president's new national security advisor, has said the goal should be regime change in your country. Do you think that as national security advisors, they're going to be honest brokers with the president, presenting him with these diplomatic options.
Is that a diplomatic option? I think that has been...
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Does their appointments make military confrontation more likely, or do you still see the possibility to negotiate?
Well, I think the United States has never abandoned the idea of regime change in Iran.
Under the existing deal, Iran has promised to stay more than 1 year away from a so-called breakout period.
That's a U.S. calculation. It's not any promise that we have made, because we never wanted to produce a bomb. And now Mr. Pompeo obviously has said that in his testimony in Congress, that Iran was never racing towards a bomb, and it will not be racing towards a bomb. It's a late admission, but better late than never.
But to the point, though, if it is such a settled issue, why not make another pledge saying, sure,
why should we?
After the end of this deal, we still won't want to build a bomb?
Why should we? There was a negotiation, and there was an agreement that was reached after hours upon hours of negotiations.
But you won't say in the future we don't intend to build a bomb, and we will sign
that's very clear. It is in the nuclear agreement.
It's not clear to President Trump, though. This is one of the things he's most concerned about. The sunset clause specifically.
3 lines down the preface to the agreement. It says Iran commits itself never to develop a nuclear weapon. I mean, you don't need even to read the entire 150 pages of the deal. Just read the first 3 lines, and it's there. There is no sunset to the fact that Iran will never seek nuclear weapons.
And you can see the full interview with Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif on our website at